What's up, you guys? It's Susie from HeyGrillHey.com, and today I am taking you on a little backyard barbecue experimental adventure. We're gonna be smoking up some orange style spare ribs. I've never made this recipe before, but I think it's gonna be delicious, and I think you guys are gonna enjoy it also, if it turns out, which I think it will. Let's do it. All right, I'm cooking 3 racks of St. Louis style spare ribs today. We're gonna be doing a modified 3-2-1 method. If you're not familiar with the 3-2-1 method for ribs, it's 3 hours of smoke, 2 hours in a braise, and the last hour back on the smoker covered in sauce. And we're gonna bring orange flavor into every layer of that cooking process today. We got our smoker set up at 225 degrees. We're actually running orange wood in the smoker. Orange wood is kind of actually the inspiration behind the recipe. We're gonna be braising in a soy and orange mixture, and we're gonna be glazing at the end with Panda Express, like Chinese food style orange glaze. So it's gonna be Asian inspired, but very much American barbecue methods. And I think it's gonna be awesome. So let's prep our ribs. These guys are well marbled and fatty and beautiful, which is exactly what we're looking for. I'm just gonna flip them over and remove the membrane off of the back of each of these ribs. During the cooking process, it tends to get a little bit papery, and I don't love that. Some people like to leave the membrane on. If that is you, that is fine. I just recommend scoring it a little bit with a knife. Now, I just get kind of under the membrane with my finger, a gloved finger, and then lift and pull away from the bone. Sometimes it's easier if you have a paper towel. Gives you a little bit more grip. It's not quite as slippery. And then just lift away and pull. If it does happen to come apart in pieces, that's totally fine. Just get back after it. If you need a little bit of help, you can use the end of a butter knife to separate the membrane from the bones initially. Gorgeous.
That membrane's insane.
Insane is the membrane. No diggity. All right, we're just gonna season both sides of our ribs with the Hey Grill Hey Sweet Rub. I have the recipe on my website or on my app, or you can buy a bottle if you want it pre-made, or you can use your very, very favorite barbecue seasoning. I think this will just give us a really nice color base, as well as kind of that sweet and savory flavor profile, right as that base layer of flavor. Flip them over, get both sides. Done. Like I said, I think this is gonna be a great flavor profile, but also look at the color. If we're going for that like shiny reddish orange that you typically see in an orange glazed chicken, for example, I think the paprika in here will give us a great like pop from underneath. Now these are gonna go on the smoker, 225 degrees for 3 hours. And I am actually gonna rotate these during the next step because I don't have enough room on my smoker for all 3 side by side. So we're gonna stack them up on the racks. Like I said, we've got chunks of orange wood rolling in our smoker today, but if you don't have orange wood at home, I think cherry or apple would be a really, really nice option here. I think fruity is your best choice to complement what we've got going on later. And we'll be back in 3 hours to wrap these up with a soy orange brown sugar braise. All right, our ribs have been on the smoker for 3 hours. That means it's time for our braising section of our rib cook. I'm gonna make a really simple braising liquid that's hopefully gonna reinforce all the flavors in our glaze later. I've got a 1/2 cup of orange juice. I'm gonna add in a 1/2 cup of dark brown sugar and a 1/4 cup of low sodium soy sauce.
Splash.
I was hoping it would be slower than that. Now, because I am doing spare ribs, I'm gonna give these the full 3 hour smoke, at 225, 2-hour braise at 225. But if I were doing baby back ribs, I would want to cut the time back here quite a bit. I usually do 3-1-1 if I'm smoking baby back ribs. All right, I'm gonna tear off 3 long sheets of extra wide, heavy duty foil. And grab rack number 1 off of the smoker. This is gonna go meat side down onto the top layer of foil. Fold up the ends and the edges to make a little boat. And then pour in 1/3 of my braising liquid. Seal it up nice and tight. Get it back on the smoker and repeat with the remaining 2 racks of ribs. All right, lid's closed, 225 for 2 more hours. And in a little bit, we're gonna come back and make the glaze before the ribs are ready to be sauced. Our ribs are almost at that 2-hour in the braise mark, which means it's time to make the orange glaze because we're gonna be saucing them next. This is a really quick sauce to put together. I make it pretty often for my kids because they love orange chicken, so I think they're gonna love the orange ribs. We got a medium skillet. We're gonna turn it over medium-high heat, and then we're gonna cook our aromatics. Yeah. All right, start with a tablespoon of sesame oil, and let that heat until the oil starts to shimmer on the top. Okay, to our sesame oil, I'm gonna add in 1/2 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. If you want yours spicier, you can actually do a full teaspoon. It will be pretty spicy but yummy. A tablespoon of minced garlic and 1/2 teaspoon of minced ginger. Bloop.
Ooh, there's that smell.
Mm-hmm, that's a good smell. We really only need to cook these for about a minute or 2 until it becomes really, really fragrant and the garlic just barely starts to brown. And we're just gonna go in with the rest of our ingredients pretty quickly. We've got 1/4 cup of white vinegar, 1/4 cup of orange juice. It's about the juice of 1 orange. And a tablespoon of orange zest. Again, this is the zest from about 1 orange. 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. And then 1/4 cup each of white sugar and brown sugar. Oh, it smells so good. Now this is loaded with all of that orange chicken flavor that you're used to, but it's not quite the right consistency for basting on our ribs. So we're gonna add in a slurry of 2 tablespoons of water, 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Just mix it until you form a nice little paste and then pour it into our sauce. We're just gonna drop the heat down so it's not boiling and then stir in our cornstarch slurry. Turn the heat back up, bring it up to a boil, and it should be the perfect consistency for glazing on our ribs. Okay, it is time to glaze our ribs. They've been smoking for 2 hours, so we're gonna carefully remove them from the smoker. And what we should see is a little bit of extra liquid in the foil from the time that it was in the braise. And you can also see our ribs have some really nice pullback from the bone, which is a great indicator to me of tenderness and the doneness that we're looking for. I'm actually gonna transfer about 1/2 cup of liquid from this first rack of ribs into our glazing liquid. It's gonna give us the most delightful sheen and shine when we glaze it back on the ribs. I actually love doing this when I'm making ribs and using barbecue sauce also. It's a great hack for ultra shiny ribs. Okay, I'm just gonna carefully remove the ribs from the foil, discard the foil and the rest of the liquid, and get these ribs back on the smoker, bone side down, so we can glaze the top. Ribs are all out of the foil. I'm gonna hit them with our orange glaze. Now, typically, like I said, 3, 2, 1, we would put them back on for an additional hour, but judging by the doneness on these ribs when I pulled them out of the foil, I don't think they're gonna need a full hour. So I might give them a half hour with the glaze just to get smoky and tacky on the outside. And then I think they'll be ready to come off and slice and eat. Beautiful. I'm really excited about these. Close them up. Like I said, maybe another half hour. I'll come check on them then, and I think we'll be good to go. All right, 30 minutes into our glazing portion of our 3, 2, 1 smoke. More like 3, 2 and a half this time. And I'm just praying that these ribs taste as good as they look, because they look amazing. I mean, these are beautiful. Between the color that we were able to get from that orange wood smoke and that red sweet rub base we put on there and this beautiful sticky glaze situation, I'm so tickled pink. I think for a rib spearmint, they turned out pretty well. I'm just gonna hit these guys with a little bit of sesame seeds and some thin sliced green onion, because I think it will add some nice color and some really great like texture and flavor on the top of our ribs. Yeah, that's pretty. Okay, I'm gonna eat one now. All right, let's see if I can sneak a rib off of this rack at the end right here. Gorgeous. You can see smoke ring. You can just see the moisture in the meat itself. That is a deep smoke ring. That's a beautiful rib right there. Now we gotta do the bite test, right? Because we want these to come away from the bone, but not totally fall off the bone. And we wanna make sure they're smoky and juicy and sweet. That's a perfect bite. Whoa. It's like familiar but new, because we're all used to that orange chicken flavor, but to have that in a fatty, smoky, juicy rib, it takes that already fantastically complex sauce to a delightfully new place. And not to toot my own horn, but the cook on these ribs is pretty much perfect. I have a feeling I have some kids that are gonna freak out over these ribs. And I do have to give a shout out to Taste Test Todd, the man behind the camera, because I probably wouldn't have made these if it wasn't his idea. He was like, you know, you should do some orange wood, orange smoke, orange chicken ribs. So here we are. And here you are. I hope you guys give this recipe a try. It is new, it is different, and I'm really, really excited about it. I think these are absolutely delicious. And the recipe is one that, even though this was a test, turned out fantastic on the first try, and will definitely be hitting the website so you guys can make them at home. We'll see you guys next time.